Hey guys, welcome back to Shadesztown. As you can see, I decided to go with wool for the building of the witch farm. Quartz was just unrealistic with how big of a building this thing is going to be. It's not just the witch farm, it's also going to be my chemical plant where I brew my potions. So pretty extensive. As you see, I'm just kind of barely trying to figure out the style of it. I kind of want a modern feel, kind of an industrial feel to it. So I decided to go with the white wool here and the gray wool is my trim and kind of pillars and borders. And I think it turned out pretty good. You can see it kind of right there. Let me show you what I had to do for the wool. I just come back here and come and get the wool. Now, obviously I'm not getting the wool right now. These pins were a little too full, which did two things. Number one, it made them very hard to shear. The shears wouldn't actually shear the sheep, because they were too close together. But number two, the sheep there was way too many entities, and it was lagging the server. I think there was like 700, 800 entities total. So just not realistic now. So I went through and killed some of the sheep off. And so after I killed them, I kind of went back and dumped the wool. And then you'll see here shortly, I take a break and look at the farm. And if you notice, I kind of wanted the base to be separate from the building. And so the base is what collects the drops as the witches fall and die. And then the base shoots the drops, or deposits the drops out, and then the building collects them separately. I'm okay. I think the rate's still okay, but as you can see, I have a lot of monster problems here. I don't want to add water, to stop mobs from growing up there, or spawning up there, I should say. But here you go. You can see this dropper, or dispense. No, that's a dropper. You can see the dropper on the side there, kind of dropping items. Just kind of separates the thing from the building. Here is just the access, stairway, maintenance stairway. But it's okay. It's an okay rate. Definitely good enough for me to go AFK and let the stuff build up. So I'm satisfied. I figured I'd show you, one of the wool runs that I go. So I come back, get some shears, jump in the minecart, head my way around, and shear away, just like this. As you can see, I still haven't put in the powered tracks on the whole thing. I do have some. And then here, one of the overflow ones was still black, so I hurried and dyed them all white, because obviously white is the color that I need. But what I was saying is, I do have a lot of gold, and I do have enough to change a few of the tracks to the powered rails. But as you see, I went back to the farm and then past it. When I was filling in tunnels, I saw a bunch of horses over here. And I decided, since there would be so many trips between the witch farm and the wool farm, that I would go pick out a horse. Took a little bit of work to get him, but he's sped things up quite a bit. I did want to wait until I could make like a speed test, system, and a breeding area, and jumping height test, so I could breed out a good horse. But I'll still do that. But right now I just needed something to use while I was working on this witch farm. So a lot of it was just a whole lot of grinding. Run and get wool and come back and place it. Run and get wool and come back and place it. But it's turning out pretty good, I think, if you look at it right here. The other thing I was doing is kind of add that trim to the bottom of the brewing stand, or the brewing tower, I'll call it. There you go. And I put this in, and I don't think I took video of it, but I didn't like it being too wool high. It's just too pronounced. I wanted the trim to be a little more subtle. And over here, I had looked at it earlier, and it looked a little too shallow. So I was raising the wool on this side again. So, and I did put a wall to separate here. I guess you guys, I haven't told you yet, but on this side right here where I'm looking in, that is where the chemical plant is going to be. It's going to be connected over there. So that wall will separate the chemical plant from the spawning area. Another thing I did, as you can see, is replace that wood, at least on this perimeter, with stone slabs. Makes it look a lot more industrial, modern industrial, which is what I'm going for. So it looks good. I think here in a minute I kind of stand in the corner and evaluate how it looks. And I think it looked pretty good. I didn't like how high that wool is, that gray wool right there. So I took out that top layer. So you only see that bottom half layer, half block is trim. But I sat here for a while and kind of just enjoyed the, witches going up the tower and then the drop shooting out the base. I think it looks pretty cool. Works out pretty nice. I'm pleased with it. So hop back on my horse. I'm probably going back now to get some more wool. One of these times I didn't realize that horses don't swim when you're on them. So I got stuck in that lake for quite a while. But not bad. My horse didn't die or anything, which is good. So, but yeah, just come back and grab some more wool here. This wool farm's turned out pretty nice. I kind of wish, though, that I had made 4 overflow color paths instead of just the 2. I only get about 2.5 stacks between the normal white and then the 2 extra, which, when you need a lot of wool, that's not enough. But for now, I'll just kind of live with it, and maybe I won't change it. We'll probably just stick with the 2 overflow things. Earlier when I thinned out the sheep, I thinned them out a little too much on some of them. Plus, I wanted to expand the length of some of these rows by a couple blocks, just to sneak in a couple more sheep. So this is how I bred them up. I just half slabbed them so the babies couldn't jump down, and then fed them. I had to come in here and get a little more food, so use my auto cow farm. Oh, I didn't grab any food. I guess I have plenty of food. I don't know why I did that. I actually did it so I could go get some wheat to breed them up a little bit. So after I breed as many as I want, I fill it back in with the rails and stuff and let them grow up. But that was enough, so I figured I'd let them build up now, or grow up. Change the sign. I think I need to change that to white. Or at this time, I guess I had only changed the one color. But anyways, back to the building. I kind of, as you can see, I kind of finished the 3 walls around the outside and decided it was time to see how it looked with the chemical plant part of it. So I came over and started working on it, and getting these 2 buildings to kind of join together fluently was a little bit of a trick. I ended up deciding to make the chemical plant not flush with that one like it was. So as you see, I take that wall back and build it back a little bit to right there, and then I start building out from there for the actual chemical plant. brewing system. So the main reason I wanted to do this was to get an idea of how tall I wanted this chemical plant building. At the time, I still was picturing, big brewing bottles or beakers around that brewing stand, all four of those kind of empty slots, if I could speak. And so this thing, ultimately, I wanted it to be higher than the tops of those bottles, or where I imagine those bottles to be, but lower than the very top of the brewing stand. Right there, I thought I could make it to that pond and didn't. Wasted 27 levels, which wasn't very happy moment. But then I got smart, as you can see, and decided to grab a bucket and start riding water down, which saved my experience levels quite a bit. So it worked out pretty good. Here in a minute I'm going to come back and look at it, and if you notice, it looks a little short. At least it did to me right here. That building looked a little shorter. If you can picture beakers there, it wasn't quite to the top of the beakers. Now, the idea of this is that you'll stand AFK and watch over the witch tower while the witches go up and build up your brewing supplies. So I wanted it to be high enough to see, but it's got to be just the right distance so that the witches aren't more than 32 blocks away within 30 seconds of you. But I do want the pads themselves to be over 32 blocks away, because occasionally a witch will get in there and get stuck in the middle one or something like that, or if a monster accidentally somehow spawns down in that room and clogs, say a slime clogs the thing, or I don't know, I wanted mobs to be able to despawn down there, but move the witches out and up and close enough to you fast enough that you won't lose any of the witches. Was kind of the idea there. So here in a minute I will step back and look at the farm from a distance with the new height, and I think it turned out pretty well. So I think I jumped down here, and then I got to take care of a couple mobs. Yeah. By the way, sorry about all the background noise. I'm watching the kid in the front room and can't do much about it. So right here I look back, and it just looks a lot more proportioned, better proportioned. Very pronounced building now. Now a lot of footage here is me just grinding, so I'm going to cut through a lot of it, but I had to show you here. I hurt my horse pretty bad. I had a creeper blow up, so I wanted to show that. My first experience with a creeper while on a horse. And then I think I mentioned I had an issue. I didn't realize you couldn't be on a horse in deep water. So I fell off my horse, and there you go. My horse is down to a heart and a half right there. Or hoof and a half, whatever those things are. So I had to come and make some wheat to give to him. Make him happy again. But here I am adding, picking up the all white wool again. And as I head back, I, place more and more, do this trip tons of times. But this time I kind of kick back and enjoy the view. And you'll notice that I took that wool out, and so that trim underneath the board there, the base there, is a lot more subtle. But anyways, I'll call this an episode and let you guys watch the tower in action. I think it's turning out pretty well, and very pleased, actually. I think it's turning out very well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.